must have been very pleased with being name-checked in the Michael Wilsher's report.
Yeah, yes, it was. It was great to actually have a quote which reflected not just the work that I've done, but actually my whole team.
You like to focus on, when I go on overall ground, but you like to focus on your team, don't you?
Yeah, because there is, I don't know if you remember, Sir Michael Wilsher about a year ago talked about these hero heads who are a bit like Clint Eastwood, who walked into these schools and transformed them single-handedly. Whereas I actually think it's not that, it's actually the head and the deputies, and I'm very fortunate that I've got 3 very, very talented deputies who've helped lead and improve teaching in the school.
Are you a Sir Michael Wilsher fan? Because not everybody is.
No, so I did work in one of the schools, not with him, but one of the schools that he was the head, and actually what I think about him is he's actually passionate about transforming children's lives. I think sometimes the messages that have been delivered maybe haven't been delivered in the right way. But I do agree with him about leadership, and I think that you have to have different leadership styles depending on the individuals that you're dealing with. And I do think it is important that heads and senior leaders have high expectations of what students can achieve.
I know you can't speak for other schools, but the main focus of the report was, there are 9 primary schools in Harlow that have failed that test. Would that be of concern? I mean, those pupils are going to be coming up to you. In fact, probably already here, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that my concern about being named and singled out in a report is that it doesn't actually mention the fact that there are other very strong leaders in the town. I would say that actually all the secondary schools in Harlow have made fantastic progress over the last few years under the leadership of their heads and senior leadership teams. And we do know that there have been some issues in recruiting at primary level, strong leaders, but actually again I would say within the town there are some fantastic head teachers.
And you're part of a trust now. Are you in charge of other primary schools now?
Yeah, so Burnt Mill Academy Trust has been established, which is a trust of 5 schools. One is the academy, the secondary academy, and then the other is Roydon, Freshwaters, Cook Spinney, and Little Pond, and hopefully will be joining us on the 1st of January. And one of the reasons we decided to form that trust is because the real challenge, I think, for primary heads is resources. In a large secondary, you have much bigger teams of people. And actually, if you're a primary head, you often have to be dealing with the budget, the premises, as well as keeping an eye on the quality of teaching and achievement. So our group of schools will actually be utilising the same HR, the same finance team, which will release the heads to focus on the most important thing. Head teachers know what great quality teaching looks like. They know about achievement, but sometimes heads have got bogged down with things that aren't really impacting on the children.
But some would say that these heads have spent decades getting to that pinnacle of their achievement, being a head,
yeah.
And now they're not head anymore.
They're still head teachers, so they still have all the responsibility and the accountability of a head teacher. So if the Ofsted report is outstanding, then it's because of that head teacher. If the school results are below floor target, it's because of that head teacher. So there's still that accountability. It's just really they're plugging into sort of backroom services. So Burnt Mill Academy Trust has a director of finance and premises. She will manage their budgets with them. She will make sure that she writes the reports to the accountants. The Director of Finance and Premises will put in bids to the Department for Education to improve the school buildings and just relieve the head teacher of some of those pressures, which are not actually what most of us are trained to do. We are head teachers because we are trained to teach and we understand what teaching is about.
Can we just go back a little bit to the recruitment problem? How do you solve a recruitment problem?
Again, we think that actually working together will really improve recruitment. It's always been an issue in Harlow because 20 minutes down the road is London and you can get a much bigger salary, often £10,000 more. And we've already found that actually recruiting to the trust has meant that we've been able to take some teachers from the inner city. Because we can offer them opportunities to work across different types of school. So, for example, we've got an NQT who's working in Roydon, but she envisages that maybe in a few years' time she would work at Freshwaters because they're quite different schools. One's very small, the other one is a 2-form entry. So we think recruitment to Harlow is going to improve as a result of the trust.
And finally, if people see, I know you're a senior head, but focus on that primary. Should parents just be able to despair seeing a statistic of 9 primaries failing, or should you try and accentuate on positives?
At the end of the day, if you're a parent, and I'm a parent too, although my children are a bit older, is that you want your kids to go to the best school. And I think parents should be concerned if schools are not good. I wouldn't want to send my children to a requires improvement school. So I know, for example, within the family of schools in the Burt Mill Academy Trust, that some of the schools are outstanding and some of them are struggling to meet floor targets. The whole point of the trust is that that's not going to happen, and we know that actually we can, by working together, we can rapidly improve the experience that young people are having at primary as well as at secondary.